All right.
Dynamite Delight.
The unknown. Interesting, isn't it? When you see the Continental Classic, you wonder how far they're going to push a Swerve Strickland. Are they really going to do anything with Jay White? What about Roosh? Or maybe a Andrade Alilio? We don't know what's going on, but the unknown is interesting because this is what we got. Now let's say this for Dallas. Was it good, the fans? I'm going to be honest, no. I didn't feel the fans. A few times they got loud as hell, like for Mark Briscoe. They did get loud for Swerve Strickland. But for almost everything else, nope. They did not get loud very much. That's just me. I'm sure when it comes to Alex, if he didn't go and watch the show, because he doesn't live too far away. I believe he lives in Austin or something. If he wasn't there, he's going to talk about how his hometown is going to act. Now, if he says they sounded great, that wasn't true, because I heard them. They were not cheering much. I'm sorry, they were not. But let's open. Let's talk about Samoa Joe. I am interested in seeing Samoa Joe win. I want Samoa Joe to win. Look, I still love the devil. I still think MJF is doing great work. But I'm going to be honest here. At this point, even though we are coming up to 2024 and the battles for who's going to get him, and we already know there's a good chance that he's going to resign or already has, the thing is that I want to see Samoa Joe as champ. Honestly, that's just me. Others are going to say no, it's got to stay as MJF. But me personally, next year, I do believe Samoa Joe should become champ. Whether he's heel or face, I don't care. He should be. I believe he will give the most legitimacy to that title just as much as MJF. He knows how to talk. He knows how to wrestle. He's got the gift of gab. He's got the charisma. I just feel like that for me. And when you see this, you feel it. Then he calls out Hangman Page, other than talking about what's going on with the devil, all the devil mask guy, all those groups who beat up MJF, who did it and thought it was Hangman Page. He comes out right before his match between him and a Roderick Strong and said, you want to confront me? Let's do it. And then you hear, Samoa! I hate Roderick Strong. That means he's doing his job well, and that's good. I'm going to tell you right now, is Roderick Strong doing his job? Yes. Is he freaking annoying? Hell yeah. But that means he's doing his job correctly as an annoying heel. Comes out and says, you got this right, but not. This is not Hangman Page. It is still MJF. And guess who decks who? In the face, it is Hangman Page who decks a Roderick Strong before the match. And we get the match. And let me give it to you like this. Was it a good match? Yeah. Was it a little sloppy? Yeah. But it wasn't that bad. I will say, when you wonder, can Roderick Strong really hold his own in the main event? As a wrestler, no problem. He's just as good as anybody else. But is his character over enough that he can be in the main event? I have to say there's one thing left that needs to be needed. And that's to find out who is the one who has MJF's mask. And who's a part of it. And if he's a part of it, he's going to have to turn on whoever's the leader and then become the one who's the leader. Or the one who can become the main event. That's the only way I can see him doing it. Because if he is one of those people in all black, that happened at the end of the show, of course, and there's a good chance he was, he has to take out the one that's already the leader of that group. No matter if it's MJF, or it's a Adam Cole, or if it's the Bucks, or if it's Chris, or anyone, it doesn't matter. Or Kenny Omega, doesn't matter. He has to take them out and prove that he can be the boss. Kind of like that. Next match. It is was it a Golden League or a Blue League? It was a Blue League match. And that, was it golden or was it blue? Oh, it was a blue match. And that was a Andrade El Idolo versus a Brody King. Brody still has his wrist up like this. And if anybody's saying, dude, why is his hand not healed yet? Are they really doing this as storyline? No. No. As I've said before, wrestlers, if the damage is not as bad as you think, could still wrestle. And if you see Cowboy Bob Orton, right, Randy Orton's dad, he literally had a cast in his arm for a year and a half. Let me say that again.
When I was a teen, the guy had a cast for a year and a freaking half.
Because he kept still wrestling with it, and instead of taking about 3, 4, 5 months off to heal, wrestlers back then didn't do that. They just kept wrestling. And it took a year and a half for him to heal because it kept refracturing. That isn't a joke. He even said it himself. But it's good now. That's what he said. Wrestlers back then in the 70s and 80s, if it wasn't a severe injury, they would just keep wrestling, even with it, and they would make it part of the gimmick. Here, you see him using it, and here's the thing. When you see a Brody King using his cast the way it is, it just feels like a prop that should not be used. Because Brody King doesn't need to be doing it, but due to the fact he is wrestling with an actual legit injury, and it's not going to heal quickly, because it hasn't yet, because he's still working with it after maybe 2 or 3 months and it's still not fully healed yet, it kind of hurts his gimmick as one of the members of the House of Black. It just does for me personally. Anybody else is not going to care, of course. No one talks about it. Just Alex doesn't talk about it, and I'm sure JD's not going to talk about it. They may talk a couple of times just to reference it, but to say he shouldn't be wrestling with it because it just looks so out of place, they're not going to say that. I am. It was all right match. Andrade just, you wonder how far they're going to go in Andrade. Now, especially that, if you don't know yet, Charlotte is injured. It looks like she might have an ACL or MCL injury. I think an ACL on her knee. From that, this is when her always doing her moonsault played against her. Now, this is for anyone who does moonsaults. Anybody can get hurt. But I just wish she wouldn't do it so often. Because she always looks awkward when she does it. And in this situation, when she landed on her left foot, her knee just collapsed under her. You saw it. I saw the moonsault. Her knee just gave out when she landed on her feet. Remember, she's jumping not off of 6 or 7. She's jumping 10 feet backwards, flipping back onto mats this thick, onto solid concrete. That is not enough padding to keep you from tearing up your knee. And now she may be out for nearly who knows how many months. Maybe near a year. It could be 6 months to a year, counting on how a person recovers from ACL. Everyone's different. She could be gone for 5 or 6 months. Or she'd be gone for 8, 9, maybe a year, like Nikita Lyons. Her knee gave out on her, from what I understand. But Andrade, I'll just give it to you like this. I truly believe Andrade could be pushed, but he has no direction, though. He's not working with Ric Flair and Sting. And he's not even working with Rick. After Rick is finished working with Sting, if he works with Andrade after Revolution, I'm golden with that. I hope he stays and work with his son-in-law. That's what I think he should. Because he can cover for him as a mouthpiece. And I think Rick can still talk pretty damn well for a 70-something-year-old guy who almost died once, got so screwed up in his last match that he fell asleep on a damn ring apron, whether he was drunk or not. It was bad, but it doesn't mean he can't still talk. So that's what I hope for him. Match, Andrade won. But you wonder where they're going to go. No, I almost forgot. When it comes to it, Andrade currently has 9 points and Brody King had 6. So that's where they are in the standing. Here's a match that honestly hurt me personally. Hurt me. It was wonderful at one point because my Tasteless Tony Storm was there. and her new protege, Ray, not seeing anything in Luther, but Marsha, I believe her name is Marsha Ray. Yeah, Marsha Ray. And she's standing there holding her title, and there's no problem with it. Seeing when you see Timeless Tony Storm going, not really putting her hands in, but trying to pose for the camera in black and white, and it was Taz, or was it Tony? I think Tony Schiavone started talking about it, but it was Taz who iterated. Tony Schiavone said, do you want this in, do you want to be color commentary? In other words, go color. Or do you want to just do it straight? And it was Taz who she was talking to. And Taz says, I can do color commentary, but they can't do it very well. That what happened with Excalibur. But the point is that she called Taz the Tasmaniac in a refined attitude. Let's make this clear. Taste Tony Storm is doing great. I love her. I adore her. Black and white is wonderful. Her personality is on point. And her posing for the camera in the most ridiculous is lovely. It's a nice change from all the other women who have practically no personality, or when they started to develop one, they didn't capitalize on it. And so you see Ruby Soho, who's supposedly working with Parker, her boyfriend. Looks like they're dating. When it comes to Parker, I can't remember his first name. Cool Hand Parker. And I would have thought he may come out with her. That might have helped her to increase her flexibility as a wrestler, to show that she's got a mouthpiece for her, or at least someone there to add on to a stick. Nothing. And then you see Rio. Or should I say Riho. Sorry, I gotta remember, in Japanese it may be Riho, because it's not Rio. In English, it's Riho. It might be that. I watch a lot of Japanese animation, so, well, a lot of anime, I should say that. No one says Japanimation like they used to in the 80s and 90s. That's a little fun fact. When Japanese cartoons came to America in the early 60s, 70s, came out in the 60s. Yes, if you've never seen Speed Racer.
Speed Racer came out in the 1960s.
You look it up on YouTube. Speed Racer came out in the 1960s, about, 5 years before I was born. Yeah, that's how old it is. That came to America. And they had some that even were earlier than that. Like 8-Man, like Gigantor, like Astro Boy. Those things came out in mid to late 60s. And I can tell you, animation wasn't called that. It was called Japanimation. Changed after Akira. And then it became animation, and then anime, and then it's just what it is today. And I'm just saying that, and I'm just killing time. Because this match really didn't mean anything. What did this mean? I knew that Ruby was going to lose. I knew that Riho was going to win. And the problem I had with Riho is the same problem I had with her, and Emi Sakura, and Hiro Kushida, and any other woman they showed. They gave them no time, and they gave them no character. If they had a character, they never gave them any time on TV to be able to develop it in front of the American crowd. They just made them do matches. And I know for a fact that in Japan, they give them some type of segments with a camera in the back to express themselves. Yes, they still do cultural things, but they do show character. Not just by the way they walked and their clothes, but by their attitude. And I'm sick of this, that they won't do something and show these women on TV. They don't show Emi Sakura as a queen. What the fuck is this? You put her on Dynamite or Rampage or even Collision, and you don't give her TV time to get over her gimmick as a queen. Why? Moving on. Next match. It's a gold match. Roosh versus Jay Lethal. Now, let's make this clear. Jay was done. Jay Lethal is finished. He cannot go any further. He's finished. He lost 3 matches. He could not continue. But they allow you to continue wrestling to showcase how determine you on how good you are. Okay, no problem. The match itself versus Roosh was a good match. But now you see Jay, who had the job to Roosh. Me personally, I'm going to tell you this. This is what I think Jay needs to do. Because as it stands right now, what do Jay Lethal... Jay needs to leave AEW. I'm going to tell you this right now. Since Impact is about to reboot back to TNA, and as I've already said in multiple videos, we do not know what TNA is going to look like. No matter what anyone in TNA, no matter if it's Scott D'Amore, Trinity herself, I love her, but this is not about her. This is about who's running production and how they're going to book, make the place look different, and hopefully hire more people. Because supposedly Kushida is now going to literally be a member of the new TNA former Impact Wrestling roster. But we don't know what's going to happen. But at this point, seeing that he really isn't doing anything. Yes, he got Jeff Jarrett. He's got Satnam supposedly is on a vacation right now. He isn't really doing anything supposedly. And it's only Double J, it's Karen Jarrett, and it's Sanjay Dutt. Those are the only ones next to Jay because supposedly Satnam is taking some time off. Supposedly. But Jay, he needs more. I think he should go to TNA. See if his contract is nearly up. Be done. Go away for a little while from AEW and go to Impact. And I truly believe that's where he should go for a little while. When they reboot to TNA, let him see how he feels about the new reboot, about the new lighting, how they're going to be doing their new promos. Hopefully, the new style of promos. Hopefully, they still keep Gia. Love that. Love Gia Miller. But he needs a new perspective. And I believe since TNA is rebooting back to TNA, why not have Jay Lethal there? Why not? What harm will it do to have him there? That's what I think. Let's move on. But he lost. Roosh won. Roosh currently has 6 points and Jay had nothing. He had 0. And when you saw him walking up the ramp with Karen, Sanjay Dutt, and Double J, he was just disheveled. He shoved people away. He was done. So you wonder if he's finished. I hope that this might actually be something that's good and something that may fall into Final Battle of RH. I don't know if I'm going to do Final Battle on Friday. I don't know yet, guys. I'm telling you right now, I don't know. I'm considering it, but I don't know. Let's move on to the other gold match, and that was Jay White versus Mark Briscoe, who also was done. He could not progress any further. He didn't get anything. So this was no better than a Jay Lethal. He just wanted to spotlight what he can do. And this is where I truly believe that AEW and Tony Khan made a serious...
Why?
Why did they make such a serious mistake with him? Because they did. They could have done something with Jay... No, not Jay. Sorry, not Jay White. I'm not getting to Jay White, but this is not about him. This is about Mark Briscoe. If you heard the crowd for Mark Briscoe, he's still a fan favorite. Yes, it's mostly about his brother Jay Briscoe. But it doesn't mean that Mark is that nothing. And instead of making him mean something, make him at least hold an ROH damn title for that matter. Make him wear the US title, which I don't know if anyone even is going for it or not. Maybe a Final Battle, I don't know. But honestly, Mark Briscoe is freaking over just like a Eddie Kingston, who also they've done nothing with. And I don't even believe he's going to make it past the next match. I believe he's going up against Daniel Garcia. I don't know. I think he is. They missed the boat on Eddie. And they missed the boat on Mark. Instead of doing something with each of them, they leave them as they are. And Mark Jobs, he's done. He did a great match, but he's still nothing. And I'm wondering, What are you getting with Jay Briscoe? Not much. But, and I want to make this clear, and I'm sure you're going to say, dude, oh, you're trying to say maybe he should go to TNA? No. I'm saying this right now. He cannot go to TNA. I'm saying it clearly. You need to understand. And I'm sure you're going to be saying, why? He can go. No, he cannot. Understand right now. There is a reason he has to stay. And it's two reasons. His nieces. Listen to my words.
Listen to me.
At this point, it's been a year since the accident his brother had, where his two daughters were in his, what was it? Not F-150, it's 250. Ford F-250, I believe. No, 1500. The Ford 1500, I believe that's the one he had. Not the 150 that woman was driving. That slammed into him. He didn't slam into her. She slammed into him, killing him instantly and severely injuring his daughters. They need money, and lots of it. So Mark cannot leave AEW. He cannot. Unless he gets an offer from WWE that is more than what AEW would give. That is the only way I would state he should leave, because he needs to make as much money as possible for the doctor's bills for his nieces. I'm telling you now. It may suck to say that, because I'd rather see him go somewhere where he could be more utilized. Because if they never utilize him and just make him job or just make him look good so the fans would cheer only, that sucks. But there are two lives that need money, along with his wife and his own kids. He's taking care of his nieces. He's taking care of their bills. He's doing that. So he must stay in AEW no matter if he hates it. If he leaves, he better find a place that gives him good amount of money, because if he doesn't, and his nieces still need medical attention, medicines, chemotherapy, medicines, physical therapy, possibly new surgeries because of the severe injuries, let's hope they find it. Moving on. Let's talk about the flattest segment to me. I don't know if it's going to be for just Alex May liked it or JD, but it was the flattest segment there. And that was Kenny, Chris with Big Bill, and Ricky Starks. Oh my gosh. For me personally, it felt flat. Now, did it do what it needed to do to hype up when they're going to have their match? Yes. But when you heard how they were having to break the fourth... Look, Kenny Omega had to break the fourth wall when it came to the firm, when it came to Big Bill, and he's saying, your story angle. Really? Did you actually just break the fourth fucking wall? Kenny Omega, who might have been involved in the firm's booking, because he might have been involved in some way of the booking, interjecting some type of ideas into it. And he says story angle. Storyline, really? Did you just break the fourth fucking wall? There are points when it would be alright to break the fourth wall of what goes on in the back. But do I believe it was necessary with Big Bill and his story with the firm? No. Because his story sucked. And most people say, dude, that's why he did it. There are ways of breaking the fourth wall without making it look so damn obvious that you have no idea what to really say about Big Bill. And I believe that's where they fucked up. And then, just cranking it back a little bit. What is going on? Something's going on with, not Chris and Kenny, but something's going on in the back. Because when you saw that Kenny was about to talk, and Chris cuts him off as he's talking, and Kenny had to shut up. What just happened? Now, we do know, and I'm saying this clearly, we already know, because of how things have been going, when it comes, well, if you've seen JD's video, talking about what's going on in WWE and how he thinks of AEW, and how the Bucks and Kenny were not willing to do business, and how unprofessional they were, to the point they just lost millions of dollars of revenue due to the fact of their disliking or loathing of CM Punk. And JD said clearly, Bush League to AEW because of how the Bucks and Kenny have acted. And when you see, after seeing that, I'm not saying it's correlated to it, but after hearing what JD said, and he is right to a very great extent, if CM Punk did not like it there because of how the basically the inner workings while he was booking himself and others and trying to help people, and you see that the pretty much the ones at the top of it are giving you issues, I can understand why he acted out to a certain extent. But he was also unprofessional, like a little bitch. But you wonder how bad things are in the back. I've never seen Chris just cut off Kenny like that. As Kenny was in mid-words and sentence, he gets cut off completely. He does. And then Kenny had to stand there hearing it going. And he had to, it felt like he had no choice but to stay quiet because Chris had to talk over him because of something happening. It just felt like that to me. And I'm not saying that's true. And you guys can speculate as I've just speculated. But you can't tell me you didn't feel something strange seeing that Kenny just gets cut off like that. And then the segment itself talking about how soft that the kicker is. When they're trying to come up with a name with Ricky as well as Big Bill. The awesome assholes and certain things like that. It was very bland. And then once you did the little soft bit, talking about Enzo Amore, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You actually used the name of Enzo Amore. The guy who's currently, I believe, in MLW. And you couldn't even bother to use his current name on another roster in another promotion. You go straight to Enzo Amore. I think that was a mistake. And it felt really forced. Now, many people cheered for it and laughed at it. And fine. And go, ooh, but it didn't feel right. I would have thought that his partner, who's under another name, and I can't remember what his name is right now, but I would have thought they would have gone in that direction. Yes, they could still use a soft bit, and he could talk better than him, but I didn't think it was necessary to go that far. It felt really bland. Not a cheap shot, legitimately trying to piss off Big Bill, but it was like bland. It didn't feel important. And now at World's End, I believe they're going to have their match, but it really didn't feel that good. And yes, Ricky tried to fix it, but I don't know. You guys tell me below. Final match, which ended around, 10:03? Swerve Strickland versus Mox. Both of them have 9 points. Whoever won was going to be had the highest number and on the leaderboard from the blue and the red league. Let me give it to you like this. And I know people are going to be mad because Mox cheated. Let's get that out of the way. Mox did cheat. Was it a good match? Yes. Mox managed to fill in a lot of the gaps that I've always talked about when it came to Swerve, where he doesn't sell that well. In this case, because Moxley is a much more aggressive wrestler, he kind of forced the issue when it comes to Swerve having to sell. Because he wasn't gentle to Swerve. He was a lot more aggressive and more physical with Swerve compared to other people that would be. Like Hangman Page got a good amount of him out of him because he forced him had to be willing to sell as well as give. Whether, like I said, he doesn't like to do it or he's not very good at it, Mox did the same thing as Hangman Page did. He managed to pull it out of him. Either because he had to force it out of him because he didn't want to do it, or he forced it out of him because he just doesn't do it very well. And it worked because of the aggressive nature of a Jon Moxley. It looked really good. Now, the opening, they tried to out-wrestle each other, and Mox got out-wrestled by Swerve Strickland, which you don't see Swerve being a very good technical wrestler, but he did well. That was like about 5 or 6 minutes of that. Then the rest of the match was a very hard and pound type of match. Not as great as El Idolo getting slammed into the gate by a Brody King doing a crossbody on a chair, but it was good. It was done well enough that it was believable. And at the end, you get Moxley reaching a point where he has no choice but to cheat. And he grabs Swerve, pulls his tights and his pants, and rolled him up. Even though Swerve did kick his arm out, the ref couldn't see it. So Swerve lost. He still got 9 points. Mox has 12. Mox says he's going to do whatever he has to. He kisses the screen. And that ends the show for the wrestling of the Continental Classic. Does not end the show, though, because what did we get? We literally got a beatdown of Hangman Page by, I believe, 5 people, counting the one who was in the car that a Hangman Page got thrown through. And that's the guy with the devil mask, which we still don't know who it is. We don't know if it's Hangman Page. Well, we know it's not Hangman Page. We don't know if it's MJF. We don't know if it's Adam Cole. We don't know if it's the Bucks. We don't know if it's Kenny Omega with a Chris Jericho. We don't know who it is yet. All the speculation's still there. It could also be the Kingdom. It can also be Robert Strom. It could be Bobby Fish. It could be some other people that technically we've not seen that could be from RHTV, because we know it's not going to be Mustafa Ali. It's not going to be a Nick Nimitz, because he can't do anything. Neither can Mustafa Ali. Nobody can do it due to the fact that their contracts being 90-day clauses is not clear yet until the 21st of December, where they can go anywhere they want and appear the same day if they wished. Yeah, and the next day. Their contracts will be up on the 21st. They could probably appear the next day or that same day, because they had a 90-day non-compete clause. Now it's clear on the 21st, which is next week. So, in this situation, we still don't know what it is. They could be from the Nightmare Factory. They could be anyone. We just don't know yet. But it is interesting. The unknown is interesting. Now, can they make it mean something? Once we go into World's End, they better, because they got issues. They got issues. The WWE have not lost anything. They gained a lot. Randy Orton's back. CM Punk is there. Whether you like CM Punk or not, like I said, I don't care where he is. As long as he's booked correctly, as long as he doesn't cause any trouble, it doesn't matter. Wrestling is wrestling, and people still love him. Yeah, a lot don't like him, but people still love him. But it's just me. Peace. And I still haven't figured out if I am going to do Final Battle. I don't know yet. Maybe. I'm still considering it. Peace.